begin this afternoon with dramatic moments in federal court today. A retired police officer insisted he was innocent as he was sentenced to life in prison for killing 4 men in Orange County. The judge at one point called him delusional. And good afternoon to you. I'm Liz Chow.
And I'm Joe Torres. David is off today. That judge sentenced Nicholas Tartaglione to 4 consecutive life sentences. The jury found him guilty of killing the 4 men over a botched drug deal 8 years ago. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon is in White Plains this afternoon with the very latest. Sonia.
Yeah, Liz, these were 4 men murdered a little more than 8 years ago. One of them beaten and strangled to death. The other 4 shot execution style in a case that went cold for months before the former police officer was finally arrested. He was convicted in federal court here last year and sentenced today. And in federal court, there are no cameras allowed. Family members of 3 of the victims spoke. They were very emotional here in court, calling Nicholas Tartaglione a monster. And the judge agreed with them, saying, yes, you are a monster, as he sentenced him to 4 consecutive life sentences.
It's just a very emotional day for both sides of the situation.
I'm happy. That intense emotion from family members of 3 of the victims, who did not speak with reporters outside the courthouse, but inside, urged the judge not to let Nicholas Tartaglione ever see the light of day again. The former Briarcliff Manor police officer was found guilty last year of killing Martin Luna, Miguel Luna, and Urbano Santiago, who were all family members, and their friend Hector Gutierrez in April of 2016, after torturing them and burying them in a shallow grave on his Orange County property, believing that at least one of the men owed him hundreds of thousands of dollars in a cocaine deal. Tartaglione himself also spoke at sentencing, denying it all, defiantly telling the judge he was an animal-rescuing former law enforcement officer who never could have done any of this and was framed. But the judge slammed his denials, calling him delusional, and saying the evidence against him at trial was overwhelming, that his brutal crimes back in 2016 involved torture, planning, greed, and cover-ups, and scolding him for his lack of acceptance or remorse. The only person to speak outside court was Tartaglione's only family member here. She said she believes her cousin is innocent and looks forward to his appeal, but doesn't blame the victim's family members for directing their anger at him.
If the roles were reversed and someone said this person murdered your family member, I'd hate him too.
Now, the only person to speak in court on Tartaglione's behalf was one of his defense attorneys who talked about his long history of rescuing animals. The judge said it was clear that Tartaglione thought more highly of animals than he did of these 4 victims and had more sympathy for animals, thinking of these men as less than, in part because of racism. The defense has vowed to appeal. Live outside federal court in White Plains, Sonia Rincon, Channel 7, Eyewitness News.
Officer Miles Bryant will spend the rest of his life behind bars. A jury found him guilty of murder in the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales. 11 Alive's Bobeth Yates joining us from the Gwinnett County Jail this morning. Bobeth, so a judge sentenced Bryant to life without parole, saying he hopes this finally gives Susana's family some kind of peace.
That's exactly right, Aisha. The former Dorville police officer now sits in a cell behind me, knowing that he won't be out of jail ever again. And at this time, the family is hoping that brings them the closure they need.
I just hope that after today, you and your family can find some peace.
Those were the words from Gwinnett County Superior Judge Tamila Atkins, shortly after a jury found former Dorville police officer Miles Bryant guilty on multiple charges connected with the death of 16-year-old Susana Morales.
Malice murder, we the jury found the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder, we the jury found the defendant guilty. Count 3, kidnapping, we the jury found the defendant guilty.
It took a little over 5 hours to find the 23-year-old guilty, and shortly after, he was sentenced to life without parole. And prior to sentencing, the family pleaded with the judge to help them find closure.
And I just want him to receive every day that he can, because she was a good girl.
The 16-year-old Gwinnett teen vanished while walking home back in 2022. Her body was found dumped in a wooded area about 20 miles from her house. And during trial, witnesses testified that Bryant abused his power as an officer and stalked and eventually killed Morales.
I still hope that I'll see her again. There's not a night that I don't go to bed thinking about her because I miss her so much.
Now, Bryant also briefly addressed the family, apologizing for his role in Morales' death, but he also maintains his innocence, and his attorney says they will be appealing this decision. Live in Gwinnett, Bobeth Yates, 11 Alive News.
Bobeth, thank you. And we were inside the courtroom when that verdict came down and the judge sentenced Bryant. Extremely emotional reaction from the family there. To get the full update from inside the courtroom, head to 11alive.com.